But a lot of things on the line here beyond that as far as implications, expectations, reputation, whatever you want to try to throw on it. It all comes down to what happens here on Bind.
There you go, map number 2 loading in. I'm expecting the slight changes in the compositions for both sides. Ray should be a pretty big factor on this particular map. Cypher's in play as well. Not expecting Welshy to be bringing the Killjoy into this, although, you know, maybe they will decide to change a couple of things, but as predicted, it's going to be the lineups that we thought might be coming on through. It's going to be Boogermen on the attack first and Renegades on that initial defense. Too early from the showers, could be a very early contact.
Well, still the pressure. Renegades aren't going to give this up. And they're actually going to push through this dark cover. This is bold. They will get one kill. The pinch coming to the teleporter will be good for another, but it's not a strategy that really pans out as planned. And with that, Boogermen will be in a position where they're up 3v1.
Slightly disconnected there, does get punished by the Boogermen. And for Renegades now with one alive, Berghy has to do quite something special. Just holding on to A for now, has minimal to no information at all. The Boogermen are going to go over towards B. And, I mean, this post plant is really not going to be super possible by Berghy, but, I mean, there is a real chance that if Boogermen don't quite hold on to their numbers here, they don't play for advantages, and Renegades can isolate some kills here, Berghy can win 3 back-to-back 1v1s. It's not totally out of the question. He hasn't moved a single button. Now he finally does move. I was getting a little bit scared that he was AFK there, but there he is. He's going to make his way over towards B now.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds. I mean, he's going to be in a position to hear this spike try to be planted. So there's going to be an opportunity for him to know that his commitment over to B is correct. And yeah, as a shot rings out, he should absolutely know. He's going to hear footsteps behind that as well. Shots will actually tag up one. Spy cam dealt with. Cyber cage is also placed. Should know that this Cypher is probably sitting over towards the cubby. Paranoia comes through, but one's in response. He actually gets close enough to see Welshy, but the only thing he'll walk away with is a bruise to the head as Slimy Boogermen will take the exchange at the beginning of the round and also clutch up the pistol.
Just a really micro thing here, and again, not too much expectation on Berghy's shoulders because he probably doesn't win the 1v3, but he actually paranoids towards the container instead of towards the cutout, and I'm pretty sure based on his crosshair placement and where he was looking, he knew one player was there while she was hiding. I'm a little surprised he doesn't paranoia Welshy and at least tries to go for a single kill. That would have been, you know, at least in terms of the overall macro of the game, gets him an extra ult charge point, if nothing else, gets him another 200 in the bank, even if you lose the round, but again, a very micro play for what was probably a losing scenario anyway.
I mean, he sees the cyber cage get thrown out, I think, is the big key. The spy cam that was also placed, I think, giving some information that somebody was close, but yeah, it's a tough 1v3 to navigate no matter how you break it down. So now for Renegades, they're going to try to stack over towards B long. Another aggressive peek doesn't find anything, and they will back away. Already through the teleporter, though, is Winsum, and that's a pretty easy follow-up as Andersin finds a kill for free, not even taking a shred of damage.
And usually, did he actually die within the teleporter? Yeah, he doesn't even exit.
I think he paint shelled through first, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, usually when you go through the teleporter, you don't exit straight away, because otherwise you just die, and that's exactly what happened. So, the Boogermen, knowing that there's going to be at least one less player over towards the A side of things, going to be making their way over now. Berghy down as well, 3 alive, they're just barely arriving on site. Plant's going to come through.
Spike planted.
Randy, if he can find one, might be able to open up his potential to clear space and get a weapon. Playing the shoulder game. Is he going to check his immediate left? No, he will not. Welshy free kill. 5v2 situation. And now it's just down to what damage can you deal here if you're Renegades, if any at all. It won't be any at all. And a flawless round come through for the Slimy Boogermen as anticipated, and they go up 2-0 early.
And talked plenty about the early rounds here for Slimy Boogermen versus Renegades on Ascent, and that was a 3-0 for Renegades on Ascent for the initial half, and now in the initial half here we got 2. So, very good for the Slimy Boogermen to get a nice and early lead going on. They had 4 in that second half, so can they squeeze through a couple more now? Not the best equipment value, but you don't expect them to have too much here. They didn't really save up too hard on that second round. Played it super safe. They're going to have to speed up and do something different now because the Renegades have guns. And this is when you expect Renegades to be able to take home.
Aldrone will scout out one player. Boombot's going to be sent over towards Lamps. Berghy is on top of the truck, and he will see one player blast pack across, but doesn't take any shots. So will that keep him concealed? Not going to make a difference as Berghy will fall, but Retro is there for at least one trade. Tagged up pretty heavily in this interaction was intox, and Winsum and Retro will find a couple. There's the final shots from Retro to get 3, and Winsum behind that will clean things up. Good bounce back round for Renegades, but again, this has been pretty much as anticipated, right? Pistol was pretty nice from Slimy Boogermen. They get the following round. Weapon advantage for Renegades in round 3. They convert there. So a pretty polite handshake of an opening here for this bind so far.
And maybe the only thing that stands out to me as a bit of a question mark is Instinct getting his way into lamps fairly free, but they're not using it for any advantage. So he jumps his way in, is completely uncontested, no one's home in lamps at all, even sees a free gun delivered in front of him via Berghy dying on top of APC. Unfortunately for Instinct, he doesn't quite push on through, doesn't find the player over towards Link, and then just dies unceremoniously inside the lamps itself. So the Slimy Boogermen, yeah, not much to write home about on that third round, but this is the one that really counts. It's full armor, full rifles for both ends, and a very slow beginning over towards Hookah.
Winsum, another aggressive peek. Goodness, he loves to take those challenges. This time it does pan out for him, though. First blood onto his counterpart as Instinct falls. Spike is left mid-market, by the way. It's still not committing for either direction. So you're hoping for a pick if you're Slimy Boogerman from Andersin. Aftershock will flush him a little bit further out, and he is able to find the first pick. That's Winsum who eventually falls. Maybe had an opportunity to see Randy as he's playing at the same angle and will catch the intel. Spike is still down, though, 50 seconds to play, and at some point, Slimy Boogerman have to make a commitment.
Look at Retro, by the way. He's pushed up all the way through showers. Yep. He's now in caves. He had the opportunity to maybe even get a backstab on Welshy, but he doesn't know where Welshy is. He doesn't know where the Spike is at either. Just waiting for his opportunity now. He'll be the X factor for the retake or potentially to cut off the rotation. Look at this now.
30
Where
seconds left.
are the Boogermen going to go? Just through market. Retro has to find the timing here. There is going to be a trap wire blocking his way. He is completely unknown once more. Retro could be the game winner here.
And if he can take care of this trap wire amidst all the chaos of this initial take, he might come through completely unconcealed. He might actually just decide to updraft over the top of it as well. Spike going to be planted. 10 seconds left as you hear a third commentator appropriate, and he is going to get over the top. So Retro could be completely concealed. This is a post-plant position that could be potentially taken away. You have to get this kill if you're Slimy Boogerman, and they're not going to be able to find it. Andersin down first. Next one in line would be Dev, but he's trapped. Meanwhile, though, the Renegades from the front have not committed to getting onto site. There's the dark cover. Good fallout from CP2 and Retro, and now it's just down to intox. Only has one flashpoint and a fault line to play with, and the shot's a bit windy. He will be damaged. Flashpoint coming through, and the spam shot to Randy will confirm. Renegades will tie up this now 2-2.
Yeah, excellent pinch coming through from CP2 and Retro, as we spent a long time talking about as well, but CP2 throwing in the recon bolt connects onto, I believe it was Dev at the time, who was the only other player that could deal with the Retro. And between the two of them, they clean up most of the members over towards short. Interesting situation for intox to find himself in. Will be able to get at least one kill. Flash was decent, so maybe a little bit unlucky that he dies to randyySavage. If he beats randyySavage in that 1v1, there's a chance that Boogerman can still win that situation. But Renegades with a good setup and the good read coming through from Retro as well, and that big flank ends up being the securement of the round that they needed for a 2-2 now. As Boogerman look to buy up again, but an uncomfortable buy as well. She looks for the stinger. There's not going to be full armor for the rest of the players as well, despite the rifles being in.
This is the dangerous force. You're trying to combine this force buy off the backhand of what will likely be a Rolling Thunder, but the problem is you've got Renegades with a Hunter's Fury and a Showstopper. So there's plenty of ability for them to retake, a lot of damage potential as well. As far as the potential Rolling Thunder from intox, it would be coming from B long, which is where he's currently pushing up the Owl Drone's going to scout it out, and then the Hunter's Fury is going to come through. Can you find this pick? It would be devastating for Slimy Boogerman. Only one of the Hunter's Fury shots will connect though, so you'll stay alive. But Instinct doesn't catch the timing on CP2, and big unlucky comes out as now the Slimy Boogermen are down to a 4v5, and off of a force buy, the Spike is also down inside of Hookah, and Renegades are stacked defensively at B.
I think that's the game-winning play right there. It's the one where you see Instinct go down. He doesn't hold the line, sadly, and I mean, I think the round might just be over via that because they have to recover the Spike. All the players from Renegades are here. They're just spamming down range. These are easy shots to connect right now. Utility being thrown in, every single headshot being confirmed, and Welshy will just be the lamb to the slaughter. Doesn't even have a gun worth saving. Might want to try and just grab a rifle and walk away. Gets a single kill, but CP2 is going to take his head off, and that is going to be Renegades second another.
Not even close to worth it right there if you're Slimy Boogerman. That went completely wrong for you design-wise. You can still light by behind this to afford the round following, but you're going to likely be down here 4-2. That said, I should probably just hesitate to say that in the first place, because again, anything can happen with the Rolling Thunder if it's well connected. A lot of weapons could be upgraded pretty quickly. You've got the opportunity for a neural theft behind it. There is a lot of potential here, though, for the Slimy Boogermen to still pull off this eco. It's just the fact that you're going up against a very healthy economy of Renegades from which they've got 5 ARs, no problem.
Yeah, this is where you have to start thinking back on Ascent as well. Talk about the Dev Marshal. I mean, we've seen what this guy can do. We've seen what this team can do when they're on the eco, the half buy. And I'm sure Renegades don't want to make that mistake 3 times. That's right, they've already lost to this twice on Ascent. So let's see what happens now. Plenty of flashes being committed into this one. There's 2 kills up for grabs here, and 1 is down early. Is this the start of another thrifty win?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in love with this play from Renegades. You've got a huge weapon advantage. You're getting so aggressive through B long. It gives you an opportunity to be converted off of, and then your weapon's being taken for free. Now the Rolling Thunder is going to be called. They've got weapons. That Rolling Thunder is going to connect on the 2, but Berghy, how do you find that kill? Showstopper now in play. Blast packing out, but can't pull the trigger. Well, she's good for 1. Retro's trying to spam. Not going to be able to find the kill, but Berghy's there for his 3rd. Potential ace on the wave, but he can't get through Dev, and the double off of a picked up Vandal will be enough for the Slimy Boogermen to convert another eco round. I don't know, Avril. I'm not in love with the play to have 2 members of Renegades isolated over towards B long in the first place.
Yeah, it's a really tough one because Boogermen just play the situation like they always do. They overwhelm with their poor guns, and somehow, some way, they will isolate, get the kills required, get the guns over, convert it into their own success, and it's the 3rd time we've seen in 2 maps that they're able to get these eco wins. And Renegades, I think it comes down to them. This is more Renegades than Slimy Boogermen for me as well, where I think for the Renegades, they just keep letting it slip through their fingers. These are the kind of rounds they can't afford to lose, but these are the kind of rounds that they keep losing.
Oh boy, 3-3 we go. Still plenty of ultimates to spend for both sides, but you're looking mostly at the Hunter's Fury here for Boogermen to potentially open things up or secure a post-plant setup. Although that said, the spike is being held by Dev, so... Winsum, how do you read that one? Deals with the from the shadows and then snaps for a 1-tap onto Welshy. Dev is feeling desperate. Once they hit the Hunter's Fury, he does find some damage and some information, of which Instinct can capitalize. Dev another, so now a 4v3 going in the favor of the Slimy Boogermen, and the fault line will convert a kill into Berghy. Now a 2v4, Renegades are going to be lost on the rotation, but CP2 is in a pretty solid position. He'll find the first. Can he grab a second? Shot's just a little shaky, and intox will pick up the spike and immediately plant.
And a second kill there might have been able to swing it back into Renegade's favor. Already dropped the spike on the ground. But CP2 is not going to be able to transfer appropriately onto intox, and now the 1v3 that's going to feel so difficult. randyySavage spots one over towards Archers, knows there's 2 more unknown. Could be in hookah, could be in elbow, could be anywhere, could be a double up into the Archers as well. And randyySavage is just going to take his coin, walk out of that one, and keep the rifle alive.
This has been... Oh my goodness, this has been a headache. There have been so many things that have happened that have gone essentially counter to what you figure would be the occurrence. And for Boogerman that time, a great initial offer towards A, Renegades can't stand up to it, and then the quick call to rotate back over to B allows for the free plant. Almost a chance for CP2 to hold on though, but individually just could not do enough. So 4-3 we go. Slimy Boogermen started to build up their economy while doing this. Gonna need a little bit of help though as well. She's only on 2,400, but that's okay. Instinct's on 61. He'll be able to afford him, no problem.
There's going to be a lot of drops from the side of Renegades here. No Blade Storm, obviously. Retro's already used that one, 0 out of 6 now. I do have to say, we're getting towards eco territory for the Renegades. If they keep losing like this, the money is dwindling very quickly, and we talked plenty about the fact that Slimy Boogermen had a deficit to work with in that first half of Ascent, which really affected their ability to reach the overtime in the second half, but now they definitely have a bit of an advantage. Just a 1-round advantage. They need to convert for a lot more than this. A 4-3 lead, a half does not make, so the Boogermen now stacking over towards the B side of things. Berghy's going to respond as well by making the rotation.
Fault line will be used to try to clear off this tight angle over towards the hookah. Randy with a cam up top will just be holding this to watch to see how many contestants do come through that angle. Dark cover will be placed. Aldrin will be used to try to scout things out. We'll find a bit of information. One going to be sent in response. Also finds a bit of information. So an even trade on intel so far, but the commitment still not coming through. The execute's still pretty hard pressed, but Andersin is going to make his way forward. Here comes the approach. Defensively, can you stand up to this? Good recon bolt to come through, but Instinct's going to push forward. No interactions as of yet, and this might just be a free plant. Give it up for the Renegades trying to play for the retake.
Yeah, and once again, you have RetrQ very big on the flank over towards caves right now. So Renegades have to wait for a timing. There's also another big flank coming through from Welshy on the other end of things, so both flankers could really do some big damage. Speaking of which, Instinct and Dev get so much work done. Dev as well into CP2, and I think this one's done.
I mean, that flank from RetrQ was going to come in 2021. He was so far away, and you cannot wait for that long for Renegades. I mean, you have to play off the fact that he's going to clear off post-plant spots. You can't play off the fact that that's your retake hinge. It's just not going to happen. He's just too far. So a little bit of, again, miscommunication and maybe miscoordination. RetrQ's going to be tasked to have to find a couple more, and Dev will find his third kill of the round. The Renegades again drop a round in which they had a realistic shot to hold off that plant. They just gave up so much space that they never had a chance for the retake.
I think RetrQ just needs to speed up there. You're right, he was very slow in the rotation. No real point to be shifting at that point as well, because if you run, yeah, you give your position away, but giving your position away helps your retaking members from the defender spawn anyway, because, you know, you're forcing the Slimy Boogermen to focus attention elsewhere onto the map. That's going to help the rest of your retake on the other side of the map. So, in my mind, no real downside to RetrQ. Just moving a little bit quicker, as finally the Renegades are not going to have full equipment this time around, and I don't know if RetrQ got spotted yet by the Owl drone. Berghy only has a sheriff, by the way, this round.
A little bit undetermined as far as is RetrQ safe. You can see that Andersin, as the Omen, is kind of paying attention to this early flank, but without trying to go for the isolated kill, it's kind of hard to get a full read. Slimy Boogermen haven't committed any direction as of yet, but there is some effort being thrown over towards B long. There's a spy cam down, a couple of trap wires nearby. Flashpoint will open up a peek, but randyySavage and Hookah is just going to sit here and make sure that at least the initial opening stays relatively contested.
Randy, by the way, is sitting in a suicide spot. He'll be able to get a one-for-one trade if he gets pushed here, but he doesn't have the possibility of getting out. He's not a Jett. He's not even a raise. CP2, can he connect the shots required? There it is. Welshy down. That's going to be the 5v4. Renegades definitely needed a player advantage somewhere. It's also a gun on the ground for a free upgrade for Berghy if he wants to make his way over once they have cleared the fact that no one else is over towards B long, and now this is where the test will come. Do they know that RetrQ's been tucked in or not?
Two flashes were thrown through, and RetrQ, he'll find not just the kill, he also gets the intel on the spike. So now that rotation can potentially come through over towards B. From the shadows for Berghy will be used to try to get him up into heaven. Has not picked up the weapon though, still just on the sheriff. Boogermen though, with only 15 seconds, their commitment is going to be none. They're just going to go right back into spawn and try to save things up, and that's a massive round for Renegades.
Left.
And Berghy's running his little legs right now, maybe back towards long. No, he doesn't want to gun at all. That's fine. Renegades will just wait the timer out. 6 seconds left to maybe be able to grab a gun. He's running for it. He'll be able to pick up a rifle, and the Renegades looking pretty for this particular round as they break the silence here a little bit. 3 rounds in a row for the Boogermen have finally been broken. The streak that is for Renegades to be able to pick up number 4 and keep things at least tight in terms of competitiveness here, 4 and 5.
This has been such a weird one. I actually so excited to go back and rewatch this and try to break this series down, because there have been so many, I hesitate to use the word wonky things going on, but some wonky things have been going on in this series so far. But both teams have been able to find and steal away advantages. That might be the better way of saying it. It's just been advantages that you don't normally see that have been picked up. And well, Instinct will be tagged by a recon, but the spy cam will be dealt with. So for the Renegades, who are heavily stacked in Hookah, again, they could be isolated here. There's not a lot of help. CP2 will make his way onto site, but he's not going to be able to be freed up to get on safely. A couple of shock darts will clear off the cubby. Aftershock sent over. Now the paint shell's bouncing off the wall. That's going to flush out one, but Randy still gets the kill for first blood.
And that's a really important kill as well, because now Hookah control is fully in the hands of Renegades. As you can see here, Dev's trying to get it back in, but there's so many members on site, and now this attack has definitely fallen apart. Spikes on the floor as well. Andersin, the only unknown player, has to get 4 kills. Will be able to light up maybe 2 very quickly. There it is. Needs to find number 3, but CP2 has a better of him, and Renegades cleaned that one up. And this really, for me at least, is 1 in Hookah.
It's just such a risky play, and we've seen Renegades do it a couple different times. It comes with reward, obviously, but it is risky. The good news there was the fact that CP2 could at least throw some utility to make sure that if there was a play through B long, it would be contested. But you think a couple of rounds back to when Renegades were stacked over towards that B garden area that people were calling it, or over towards that wood kind of octagon area, you get isolated back there, there's no way that you exit. The only exit is towards danger, potentially, and if you can get caught out, there's an opportunity in front of that to really snowball some numbers, but that time, the risk does come with reward. Now, for the first time that we've seen, Slimy Boogermen are actually going to play pretty aggressively through the middle of the map. A lot of utility thrown over towards the showers, actually most of it through Welshy. Instinct and a blast pack forward will take control of lamps, and now a paranoia will try to free them forward. This is a good hit for Boogermen so far. Just comes down to, can you capitalize on the kills? No, you can't. It's CP2 for 2. Winsum with another, and Renegades
Berghy
coming out of showers will hold.
Berghy from the back end as well. Should be able to get a free kill here. Certainly does so. 1 alive now. Welshy goes down. And that comes down to the fact that Boogermen stacked up massively into A short, and they didn't do any pressure, no defaulting towards B ramps at all. What you see early on that we missed out on was that Berghy walks down B ramp at the start of the round, sees nobody, allows randyySavage to start rotating from the back of spawn over towards A. It ends up being a 4-stacker D finish towards A. Berghy then on the long rotation through the market side as well, bypasses all the trap wires via teleports. And then the Renegades just pinch up, and the Boogermen can't get anything done on a 6 and 5 now as Renegades take the lead.
Need to find a way to go 6-6 here. You feel like if you're Boogermen with the ultimates that are available. And Renegades are again going to play a little bit cheeky. 3-man stack towards B long, nothing there. That means there's only one player defensively on A. It's Randy. And he's about to meet all 5 members of Boogermen, and they are not coming in politely for a welcoming party. Renegades on the way back through. But all of this free space is consideration to not have to use things like the Hunter's Fury, as well as not having to use anything like the Rolling Thunder for now. Spike has not been dropped, though. Nice kills coming through for Renegades. That's the showstopper option. Here comes the potential of getting maybe a couple, and intox takes down 2 off of his Rolling Thunder. Retro caught off. Last play left alive is Winsum for a 1v2.
And he can't even get a single shot really off. I mean, he gets 1 shot, I'll give him that one, but there's not going to be an opportunity for Winsum to be able to win versus Dev, who's just a little bit trickier on the trigger pull there. 6 and 6. And that is going to be Renegades pulling through at least, but for Boogermen, who had the early advantages, they're going to be able to keep on to most of those advantages. Take a look at the instant replay provided by GoPuff here for that first half. And super competitive half, I got to say. It was an opening pistol with anti-eco going the way of the Slimy Boogermen, and then 3 rounds in a row for Renegades, and 3 in a row coming through for Slimy Boogermen, and then another 3 after that for Renegades once more.
It's just been, there have been so many really interesting spots, but this, you know, again, I am a firm believer that when you give up that much space defensively for Renegades, Slimy Boogermen don't have to rely on the Hunter's Fury or the Rolling Thunder to open up space. They can use it to stop a retake. They can use it to essentially stall for a defuse, and that time, the Rolling Thunder is used beautifully right through the link over towards the defender spawn, and the kills are 100% free, as if you could find them on Overstock.com. Now as Renegades looking to get aggressive over towards B, a little bit of a fake play over towards A showers as well. First blood for Winsum will lead to an immediate spike point here for Renegades.
And somehow randyySavage has managed to walk away with about 15 HP right now. Renegades are very low in the HP department. Andersin is nearby, as the teleporter is going to be used by a couple of members from the Boogermen, trying to get this retake underway right now, but they have no control over the C long area, or the B long, I should be able to say. They do get a kill that direction now. 2 to 3, still alive. It's just the 1 now for Andersin. Make things competitive. Still has 100 HP. There is still 1 play coming through from the back, and that, of course, is going to be Randy on no HP, but he does have timing.
Nice shock dart coming through, 10 HP. Is there a second? Halfway on the defuse. Timing not going to be great through the dark cover. Easy conversion for Renegades. They take the pistol, and with that, they take the narrow edge up 7-6.
So both attacking sides at least taking pistols early on. That is going to give Renegades a nice lead now, walking into their attacking half. So the fact that they keep many members alive early on, again, we have to look at that round where Renegades had randyySavage receiving a lot of pressure from showers early, but stays alive, makes a long rotation, somehow just gets to the back of B and cleans up the final kill for Boogermen to, unfortunately, not be able to get enough extra damage and to confirm those kills now into the anti-eco. Ends up being, what is it, 3 Bulldog, 2 Spectres, and for Renegades, the 8 on the board should be coming up ahead.
Lots of information here for Winsum. Paranoia coming through. Oh boy, a little bit shaky, but at least the paint shell's cleared some space. There is a solid trade. Berghy's going to sit here to try to defend against the Spectre being picked up, and he's going to read a lot of information. Nice headshots coming through. Andersin will fall, and a 4v3 breaks loose, but call it what it is. It's a 4v 1.6, as both other members for the Slimy Boogermen are down to half HP or less.
And no guns either. They would have to find one over towards Hookah from the Renegades. Dropped, what is that? Renegades dropped a Spectre there via Winsum. And now, Welshy on his lonesome over towards A. Has to get it all done on a frenzy of all things. And there's no Dev Marshall this time as well, so I don't feel great about Boogerman's chances of winning this eco. Typically, they at least have sheriffs when they win ecos, and this doesn't look like that.
And CP2 camping the long A teleporter will find Instinct for free, who utilized it to get from one side of the map to the other. Welshy opportunity, but not able to convert any shots. CP2 able to take him down. Dev by himself, no recon bolt, just a sheriff. This would be one of the, I would say, if he converts this, the most incredible 1v4 in Valorant history, but it's not going to happen here. 8-6 Renegades find themselves a 2-round cushion.
There it is. So, one rebuy here for Winsum. RetrQ doesn't quite have Blazestorm yet, otherwise you'd give the gun over and just pull the knives out for this one, as the Boogermen will get their 5 rifles online. But because they have so little kills in the last 2 rounds, they haven't actually got enough money to play into full armor. That will hurt them, especially versus Spectres and Bulldogs. That will give actually the Renegades a decent advantage to try and win some of these fights. CP2 has the sole rifle on the team for Renegades as well, so look to him. You have to maybe drop a few extra guns for his team.
No more charges left.
Nothing off the spy cam early. That's going to stall things considerably for Renegades. Maybe not actually. It's just going to be a push through. You're going to get the Jett dashing through early, making some motion to happen over towards the U-Hauls. That's going to be freely taken. Berghy with an early paranoia. Paint shell's also down, but the Slimy Boogermen are feeling okay for now, but Retro able to find the kill on the Andersin in the showers. Welshy nearly falls, but keeps his life. Spike has not been committed to go down yet, and there is potential play to rotate out to the teleporter if they feel they need the exit, but with another kill coming through, we've got a 4v3. And yeah, there it is. That's going to be a teleporter play on the backside as they realize that all 3 members for the side of the Slimy Boogermen have also come over defensively.
And there you go. Bulldogs versus light armor is certainly doing the work now. Both the members that went down for Boogermen so far are 2 members that only had the light armor. They will now try and retake this one 3 over towards the defender side of Spawn. You have randyySavage lurking over towards A as well, just to make sure it's clear. We'll probably TP through in just a second. There it is. Berghy still on site. The rest of the 3 players are off site, and this is going to be tough for the Boogermen.
I just don't know how you do this. You got to get some good flashpoint kills here if you're intox. Looks like they want to go for it. No save coming through. Shock dart well placed. Vault line will try to clear things out. Dev does find 1 pick, but again, these players that are inside Hookah are the biggest problem. You got to find a way to get through. Opportunity Instinct does block down the headshot. Intox another 1v2 situation. Retro needs to clutch up. He finds the first. To the classic he goes. The spike has to be held, and it looks like he's delayed enough time to come out. Updraft Tailwind doesn't make a difference. Stall the time any way you can. And that will be the clutch coming out for Renegades, but it really shouldn't have gotten that narrow, you feel like.
I mean, that could have gone either way. I think I'll just, I'll cop the L for this one as well, because to be fair, Boogermen went for it and they made it super competitive. That could have gone so well for them. They had the initial pick over towards a play and towards long B. They couldn't quite flush out Hookah though. So like you said, Hookah ends up being the main issue there. I think the other problem is Renegades never really picked up guns. So despite the Bulldogs getting some value there, they didn't upgrade fully. Boogermen still had an overall weapon advantage, but here we go. This is back into very familiar Boogermen territory. Guess what? It's going to be the Dev Marshal and the Stingers and Sheriffs again. Boogermen have won 3 out of 3 rounds when they go for the strat.
We'll see if it can be another perfect 100% here. Randy takes down Welshy, trying to get aggressive. There's one more contestant here. The trades are okay, but again, this is still pretty punishing, though. So as CP2 holds on to the spike, rotation coming out for Retro through the teleporter over to Hookah. Dev is going to have to bail out of this area. With the Marshal, he really can't do much by his lonesome. So this should lead to a plant, but with a Hunter's Fury available for both parties and a showstopper, there is good potential that Slimy Boogermen can still work their way into this round.
I don't mind Div giving up this position right now. He needs to stay alive for the retake. The 2 guns have been picked up by the rest of the 2 players remaining as well. Look towards Instinct and intox. Here we go, and Div has found a rifle. Okay, now we're in direction. This is where the Boogerman can do some real proper damage. First into Fury is going to come through. CP2 doesn't quite find much to start with. Instinct now to respond with a showstopper, and the opposite end as well is going to ring through the Hunter's Fury. And there it is, the first kill for Instinct, and we're on to action.
Timing is going to be a problem here, though. Even in a 3v2 situation, you've got to deal with RetrQ at range. He can just shoulder this all he wants. He finds a second kill, one more to deal with. Doesn't even need a challenge if he doesn't want to, but you feel like he wants the triple, will be denied. But even though the Hunter's Fury didn't find anything, the key there for the side of CP2 is the fact that he actually forces Dev to get out of his owl drone. So that was the only bit of information. Dev was looking for the owl drone Hunter's Fury combination, and not only does he not get that, he gets no information whatsoever because he has to back out to stay alive. So it doesn't find kills, it doesn't find damage, but it denies information, and that's good enough for Renegades.
I mean, this is also a good round for Boogermen. Consider they walked into this one with a half by eco. It's the Dev Marshal again, and they go down to a 1v1. They go down to a nearly, a nearly defuse if it wasn't for the timer running out. And part of the reason the timer runs out is the fact that they went to pick up guns. They took their time. Dev gave up B. It's the right play for the equipment value, but it does mean you have to be faster on the retake, and that could have been another success. It's technically not going to be a round win, but they got all the kills, so somehow the Boogermen on bad weapons and a Dev Marshal technically clean up all 5 Renegades again.
Showstopper now available for the Renegades as well as a Blade Storm if needed. The attack looking like it wants to go over towards Hookah. Trap wires and a spy cam are placed, and there are members defensively stacked here for the side of the Slimy Boogermen. And Renegades, this might be the execute. You see RetrQ already inching forward. The only player not here is Randy. He's lurking mid-map, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of point of contact yet. And for Renegades, you got to make a decision. How are you going to get through this? You just going to gut check your way on? Because there are 3 members of the Slimy Boogermen stacked over towards Elbow, and they could retake quickly.
I mean, they're stacked, but they don't have really angles to work with here. They need somebody over towards the actual deep inner spawn link, which is what I believe Dev is working towards right now. They have no control over either Hookah or Long, but they are going to be able to just swing on through Intox and Instinct for 1 each, and this is where the real retake happens.
Oh, but only 1 kill for Winsum, and he dropped while doing it. Now an opportunity. RetrQ gets a double. Now it's just down to a 2v2. Do they expect Andersin coming through B long, though, is the question. RetrQ's trying to stall for as long as possible. Randy's shots are not great, but they're good enough. 1 more player down low. Andersin for the first. 1v1. Exchanges Phantoms. RetrQ, he's trying to bait out the defuse. And the kill comes through, and Andersin getting it to half will clutch in the 1v1.
And unfortunately, the spike is not quite planted well enough for the elbow. You look at that last situation. RetrQ can't see the spike. He has to try and, like, pre-fire that one, gives away his positioning. Maybe he should have just held on to it. Maybe he shouldn't have fired at all, because that allows Andersin to consider his options a little bit. Maybe he just goes for the half defuse, swings out, tries to get the kill, and the RetrQ does so, and then confirms the second half of that defuse coming on through. But yeah, if it was planted more default in front of the container, not in that little cutout area of the container, that would have been a much better situation for the Renegades. And now that is a really rough loss, because a 1v1, when the spike is nearly exploding, I think that favors the attacking side, and Renegades are going to be kicking themselves for not being able to win that.
10-7 the tally. Renegades with a lot of tools to use, but the Slimy Boogermen have been great with the Rolling Thunder so far this game, at least on this map. Big weapon advantage to go with this. And Renegades are grasping at straws here as far as what they're going to use to get in. Shots coming through. Instinct will just barely survive. Bounces paint shells at his feet. A blast pack behind that, but this is going to be a spike down. And where are the Slimy Boogermen? There are 3 members still at A. They're going to be so late. If Renegades can find a way to clear off the elbow, this one Thunder is not going to find a lot of value. Boombot's going to be pushed forward. Shock Dart behind it. 1 tap for Randy. Instinct with the trade. But a little bit of damage will be confirmed. Now Boogermen on the retake come through. They find 1 more up front, but Winsum for the trade. Can he find more? No, he can't. RetrQ now by himself. Just the Blade Storm finds the first. He's going to look for the second. Can't grab Andersin inside the container. He also had an opportunity maybe for Intox, who stuck the defuse, but the Slimy Boogermen on a needed round don't want that one to go too dicey. They bring it back just to a 2-round deficit.
And to be honest, it's a fairly successful eco coming through from the Renegades as well. 3 kills, a plant. Storm coming up pretty massive in terms of just getting at least a couple of kills in there. So the Slimy Boogermen almost felt the situation was requiring the use of some ultimates. You could start to feel that the Rolling Thunder potentially would have been approaching, but they hold on to it. Thankfully, they will be able to use now that Rolling Thunder for this round if need be. Plenty of ultimates available for the side of Boogermen. 2 on the side of Renegades, not quite as impactful, but it's the guns that they need so far. They are leading 10-8, but if they lose this one, that's when the Boogermen start to really catch up big time.
Still holding out of the Rolling Thunder as well. Renegades, one of their first looks that we've seen, getting very heavily invested over towards A Showers, and intox is trying to plan out this Rolling Thunder for a mid-denial. Aldrone try to scout things over towards lamps, but mostly gets denied. Andersin up top. He's able to find one and a second. Can he get number 3? No, it's retro for a double, but immediately traded back, and the Slimy Boogermen will have a 3v2. Winsum, though, still on the site, able to even up the odds. Down to just 14 HP, and the shock drops are great. The Rolling Thunder's going to come through. That's a free kill for intox. He actually hits up Winsum as well. But Winsum will be able to back up into Showers and at least stay alive. This is a very tough 1v2 on 14 HP.
He has to wait it out. At this point in time, I think Boogermen can safely assume that Renegades will stay over towards A. If Winsum wants to make the rotation over towards B, he needs to instantly exit post-Rolling Thunder, go all the way out from Showers, go through caves or market, probably through caves because it's a little bit safer, and then run his way in towards B in unlimited time as well. So waiting over towards Showers does get spotted out, and the Boogermen in that one up. So well played by them to have, I would say, Andersin in the perfect position. Will not connect to the retro dashing on through, but has the discipline to pull the crosshair back over towards Showers and collect the last couple of guys coming through from Showers. Gets a spike on the floor as well, and I think that ends up being the round winning play.
17 and 11 for Andersin, 16 and 15 coming through for Instinct, leading their teams on this comeback effort for now. Would love to see Welshy get more involved, though, defensively on this Cypher. Winsum to get aggressive. Fault line's going to come through over to Lambs, but Andersin was ready for it, at least by position, but still loses the fight to the stick. Boombot having a little bit of trouble getting to the Lamps, but intox will sit here, but not win the secondary gunfight. Renegades on a light buy, currently with numbers, but it's Welshy and Instinct that are able to hold things for now. No spike line as of yet, and that will continue to be the case as Welshy will find 3. We wanted to call his number. We wanted to see him get involved, and he does in a big way.
Winsum, low HP in a clutch situation. Where have we seen this one before? It's deja vu all over again. This is at least slightly more winnable, but Dev says no. Another situation, another round where the spike is dropped sadly too early. Winsum, the last player alive, and just doesn't have enough of a shot. Would have to convert the first kill. Hope for a 1v1. Maybe make a teleport play. He was close enough where he was in lamps. Could TP over in a 1v1, maybe get a plant down, and then try and win that post plant versus the net 1v1. That would have been probably the only real solution to that puzzle. It is puzzling now for the Renegades to be dropping 4 rounds in a row after being 4 rounds up in this half. That is quite peculiar indeed.
Berghy at 5 and 15, just to make sure we're kind of sharing the dismissal of some of the bottom fraggers so far. It's been a shaky round for a couple of these guys, but this is where, again, kills matter the most, and if you can find a way to clutch up, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. So we'll see what happens here for Berghy, as he's to be trusted with the spike. A ton of ultimates online for both squads. Intox up top in heaven with the Vandal. Welshy playing close is actually going to consider potentially challenging this. There's the Paranoia Cyber Cage coming through. Andersin looking for information from the shadows. Welshy going to be hit up heavily by a Shark Dart that bounces into his feet. And now just down to 31 HP. This should be an isolated kill to come through, and it will be. Dev, though, Hunter's Fury. He's going to find a connection and a kill, but meanwhile, the Renegades still finding success on the A side as they hold the numbers and potential to plant.
Instinct is taking so long to rotate through, and again, it doesn't matter if you're spotted in this situation. You're just trying to help out your teammates, and he's going to have to get past the trap wire anyway, so this is going to be a tough 2v4. Retake Renegades walked into this round with almost 5 ultimates.
No way!
Instinct has got one through, and Dev connects the shock as well. 18 HP. It's not a lot to work with, but it might just be enough. Dev gets another one, and this is going to be the 1v1 to decide things. The team that wins this goes up to 11, and he forces an eco round to come on through. Dev goes down. Retro confirms that 11 found for Renegades. and the Boogermen may just have had their economy broken.
This, I mean, it just can't happen, man. It just can't. You're in a 4v2. There's no way that you allow that to get to a 1v1 that Dev nearly still picks off the victory with. It can't happen. But Renegades still find themselves up around somehow, some way. Maybe you attribute this to Retro, who's 25 and 15 for crying out loud. 5 ultimates now for Renegades to potentially spend to put them on match point. Things have been really shaky as we'll get BattleBots over towards Hookah. Neither will find much intel, and Winsum will also spend the paint shells to clear things out. With the paranoia coming through, Hookah will be taken away by Renegades.
This is the important round now. Boogermen, if they lose this one, they will be on a full eco, or at least a really awkward half-buy for what could be the final round here when Renegades, if they get 12 for the Boogermen, they've brought down to 0 on multiple members. 1 extra member to work with now. That's 1 ultimate off the table. Renegades will have 4 ultimates alive right now as Winsum enters the site.
He's going to go further than that. He's going to go into the dark cover. He finds 1 kill. Not expecting that whatsoever was Andersin. Spike will be planted, but the paint shells is finding a lot of damage. Early Hunter's Fury for CP2. Trying to clear off the elbow. He doesn't really connect with much. Now the Showstopper going to be used in the same area. No blast packs available. Winsum's not going to find any value from this. Retake now comes through. Dev finds the kill. You've got Welshy on the flank through Hookah. Dev already on the site. There's only 2 places that Renegades could be. Elbow and Long B are those 2 locations, and Boogermen, if they can find 1 pick, they could potentially start working for a defuse, but Winsum finding 1 kill, CP2 another. The post-plant setup looks like it should hold.
Dev goes down, Winsum for 3. And despite Renegades missing a decent amount of ultimates there, Boogermen really don't connect either.
Point.
And there it is. Match point, like the lady says. It is 12-10 now. And the buy is absolutely awful for the Boogermen. Look at their money situation. What can they afford? I'm going to be honest here, Alan. I think they go back to the Dev Marshall and the rest of the Mega Mix over there because that's been the most successful for them so far. The fact that Dev actually goes towards the Bulldog, I am capping a little bit here, but at the same time, look, for Boogermen, really where they've gotten a lot of success is in those really awkward half-buys, and it's going to have to be that again. It has to be that to keep Boogermen in the game, or else they go to the lower bracket.
CP2 is going to move forward with an owl drone, make sure that there are no trap wires on these boxes near mid. Boombot coming out, and you're going to get Retro. Moving forward with the Bladestorm. randyySavage also potential point of contact just outside A showers. A lot of knives thrown out, no kill. Now the flat point coming out, and the kill will be there for intox, but the trade immediately going to follow. Now over towards the showers. You see Winsum now next one up. He will get the kill over to randyySavage. Again, he's just dancing Spy v Spy through this dark cover. Spike will rotate through the teleporter. This should be a free plant for the Renegades, and what is now just a 3v3. Hold on a second. Randy not going to be expecting Welshy, and now Boogermen with an opportunity to steal another round away.
Yep, and every single player should now have an actual gun in hand. Boogermen have got enough kills there. 3 kills, 3 guns available. Dev goes down, so that's 1 gone. Andersin as well to follow. Could this be it now? Welshy in a 1v2. This is all the marbles on the table now. And both players are on opposite ends. This could be absolutely disastrous. 1 kill, Paranoia misses, swings around, but CP2 will find the shot required. Welshy sent away, and the Boogermen go to the lower bracket. Renegades find their map number 2.
I'm at a loss for words. There are just some really dicey moments for both of these squads here in these last 2 maps, but for Renegades, they're already doing better than they had in their invitational. They get through their first matchup. They'll be in the opening winners.